Hey everyone, welcome back on my workbench. So today I'm finishing off this IntelliVision left-handed stick, True 16. This is the one that's going to be going out to Hawaii. One of the little secrets I have is for um, the IntelliVision controllers in particular. They tend to feel a little light. There's a little too much mass on the top panel. So I got these really handy little weights. They're actually using for balancing tires of all things. So the adhesive on there is very, very strong, which is nice. So I kind of eyeball to okay, so unlike this particular controller, most of the mass is actually on the left-hand side. From the mass, there's actually steel plate underneath this joystick here. And of course on the right side is a button, so there's not a lot of weight on that side. There's a little weight from the cabling coming into it, but in terms of like hand feel, it just feels a little top heavy. So what I end up usually doing is I'll so get this back off here. What I'll do is I'll end up throwing a couple of weights on the right side, one up here in the corner there, and then I'll throw another down in the lower right hand corner just to get a little more weight to it. Wires are a little short, otherwise I'll be showing the guts a little bit right now. But this is really not any different from any of the other controllers I made, and I'll probably end up sticking one kind of here, like there-ish, just to make sure it feels like it's a little more solid. I mean, I'm only adding, these are only quarter-ounce weights, but it makes all the difference in the world in terms of like how it actually feels when you're pretty even now. Get the cord attached in here. So a little engineering tricks here. This is a little stray relief basically, and as these lock, you put the wire in, and as they're locked together, it presses against the wire and forms like a little zigzag, and it locks. It's a stray relief to prevent your cable from getting pulled out accidentally. The reason I like this style, it's actually relatively easy to cut the hole for it. You just have to cut it close to the edge. Pretty much. The light's a little. What you do is you cut a hole close to the edge, so you have enough room to pass the cord through. But when you seal everything up, I'll show you in a second, and that looks really nice. It kind of locks into place with a tab, and that'll actually get you. When you seal up the controller, you don't even know there's actually a little notch in the plastic here that allows the cord to pass through. But the nice thing is when you close it up, it looks nice and professional. It's not going anywhere. So, yeah, I just finished this guy up the other day. Actually, about 20 minutes ago, I finished this up. So this is. I'm going to do a little demo in a second. Other little things I do is I put rubber feet on the bottom. And get off any extra hot glue because it's ugly. Right now it's the Saturday after Thanksgiving, so I don't feel like wearing regular pants. It's snowing like crazy out in Chicagoland. We're supposed to get about just shy of 12 inches here today, which is a lot of snow. You know, usually we haven't gotten a lot of snow in years, so it's kind of a shock to the system. Close it up. I like doing my final test with it completely closed up just to make sure everything is I don't have any pinched wires or cut wires inadvertently. Put on a background. Oh, put on a background noise filter so you really can't hear it. But my CNC is actually going behind me right now, so the filter I think is working pretty well in terms of deadening out the sound. Yeah, I wanted to try a new gate filter so I don't have to, so I can keep cutting enclosures. So rubber feet. It's nice on the bottom. We just put on rubber feet, nice adhesive feet. This is really best for tabletop play, but you put it on your lap just fine. These rubber feet keep it from skittering all over the place. Wow, there's a junk on my bench. Okay. Pause for a second. Alright, so through the miracle of hitting the pause button, we're back to this controller. This is a FW test. This lets me to really demonstrate big in there. You can see it really lets you demonstrate the how the True 16 really works. You can see even down to the smallest. I don't think you can get this precise with the original controller. I could never get this precise. Because I'm using distinct micro switches for it, so you actually get a little better accuracy. And of course I can test off all the buttons. That's your left. Button 2, button 3, button 1, the two tops. The idea how responsive the controller actually is. There we go. That looks good. So, yeah, I'm going to be finishing this up. So, two other things are let me get that off the screen. Can't see a darn thing. Whoa! Wrong one, guys. Not the capture. There we go. Get you up there. So this is Jim had asked me. He had ordered a classic controller, and I created a new knob that actually has 3 little notches in the bottom here. So once you put it on, it takes a lot to pull it out. I mean, it really spins freely. Generally, I like to glue the knob in place, but I guess some people like it spinning, so this one can spin, and it's not. It moves up and down, but it gets caught on this little edge right here. You can't really see it, but there's actually 3 like teeth that come out. That's an annoying sound. 3 little teeth that come out that will keep it from coming back off the controller. So when you go to do the nice little spin motion, it'll come with your hands. So yeah, that's coming up. I've got 2 5200s I need to finish off. I got next video I'll probably building up the actual amplifier boards I need for that. And one other cool thing I came up with. For the new 5200 LT controller, I might make this an option on the normal controllers. This is my little start, pause, and reset. Actually turned out really nice looking, and I did a really nice high DPI print on there. Come on, there we go. So I use the Atari font, so it looks very similar to the original. So that's pretty cool. That worked out nice. Yeah, so this will be on the new LT. I'm probably going to be cutting that. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 more enclosures to cut. So I'm cutting one right now. Once I get done with making the version for Night Stalker that has the 4 dedicated buttons, it's going to be a right-hand stick with 4 dedicated fire buttons that are going to duplicate the 2, 4, 6, and 8. So instead of having to fiddle around with this keypad, which is not always the most responsive thing, it's just the nature of keypads. You have dedicated fire buttons on here, but that's going to be a I think I have it already on my website, but it's like a $20 adder to the original because I need to put 4 buttons and 8 diodes and a bunch of extra wiring to do it. So that's coming up. So it's going to have a nice little plus sign here. This all gets kind of moved up a little bit, and it's a purist as well, so it has the 4 buttons around the keypad itself. So it's going to have this is moved up slightly. The 2 buttons here, the new ones below, are going to line up pretty well with it, and then you're going to have the joystick on the right side. So that's pretty cool. So I'm just going to finish this guy up shortly. Yeah, and this is going to Hawaii. Let's play an actual game with it in a minute. Demo is a little boring, to be honest with you. I just need to apply my final labels I add to it. I put a IntelliVision True 16 label here, and then I put a black stripe with a True 16 along there to make it a more polished look. So yeah, for the students who are interested in retro gaming, there's a bunch of little things you got to take into account. Like this, I 3D printed this. This is actually a little template for when I drill this hole. I actually want to be able to so I get the consistent drill hole every time. And little things you never like this. There it is. That's a little drill template I made. I designed it in FreeCAD. And then your friend is, this is a stepped bit. Step bits are nice as opposed to conventional drill bits because they'll automatically deburr it as you drill through. It's really good for plastics, even for metals too, but for plastic it's great because it'll give you a nice clean cut every time. And then another unspoken hero is this is the deburring tool. This is also originally meant for metal, so when you drill through metal, you have metal burrs, but this, you run it around. Just a couple different styles. This is the style I like for plastic, because I can run it around, see if the hole is a little too small, run it around 2 or 3 times, and right size again. And any other tips and tricks? Yeah, always be mindful of the weight of something, because weight, psychologically, subtly, is quality. So even if you have something which is relatively light, don't feel bad about extra adding weights to it. It's a very common trick in engineering where you add like a metal plate. It doesn't actually do anything. It just gives it that feel of quality. So it's a psychological thing. I mean, it actually, like the weights I add in here, they don't do anything. They just change the center of gravity. So move the center of gravity from here to about there, so it feels better in your hands. So little weird things you learn when you work, particularly with like handheld devices. Just like the weight of it is like the biggest thing determining if you think it's a quality item or not. It's psychological though, but you have to deal with, it's like engineering's half psychology and half engineering, and 3/4 problem solving. So you end up with 175%. Not correct, but it's there anyway. And yeah, next controller I build, I'll do more of the guts of one of these. I want to kind of get this out of the way because I have a couple controllers I need to get going. I want to get all caught up. After this goes out, I'm all caught up to about the first week in November, controller-wise, which is good for me. I don't usually get this close to being where I need to be. And I'm doing pre-cutting a bunch of enclosures for the 5200, so I can knock those out. And I have a bunch of pre-built joystick assemblies, so it'll be much quicker to slap it together. Next video, though, is probably going to be some soldering. I'm going to be building up 2 amplifier boards, and I'll crack open my own 5200, and then I have 2 5200s because I need to fix the sound on mine. Crack open 2 other 5200s and show how you recap them and how you add the there's a summing board, because the original 5200 you can actually put 5200 has, there is like composite video, you have your Luma and Chroma are built into one signal coming out. It's called composite. And on the board, there's actually, you can pick off the 3 chroma lines, which is the color, and the Luma line, or I forget which way it goes. It's one or the other. I can't remember which way it goes. There's either 4 chromas and 1 Luma, or 1 Luma and 4 chroma. I forget which way it goes. I have to look at my own notes. Luckily, I have them on my website. So I got to reference my own photos of website to do that. More than once, I've tried to look something up, say, has anyone else figured this out? And it just throws me back to my own website. Like the Tiger Gamecom, that one, I think I have like 2 different citations on Wikipedia on the work I did on that. And then there's this weird system called the Auken from Taiwan, I think. It was kind of the same era as the Super Nintendo, and I actually ended up doing I was able to figure out how to convert a Super Nintendo controller to an Auken controller. So the original controllers are extraordinarily rare, but luckily they use the same chip. All they did was flip 2 buttons around. That was simple. But yeah, fun times. But yeah, I have to go looking at my own website for how to wire up the 5200, and that's the other reason I want to open up mine, is I want to maybe take some fresh photos and figure out why my sound isn't coming out. It doesn't make any sense. Oh, but back to Luma and Chroma. When you have S-Video, which is halfway between composite and component, there was S-Video, which was a common format with the original DVD players. They split the Luma, which is luminosity, and Chroma, which is the color lines in each other. So you get better color rendition and a higher resolution. It was like an S-Video. I think you could do 480p, maybe. No, I think it's still... Is it progressive? No, it's still interlacing. You can do 480i, but like true 480i. So you interlace. So in case you ever hear those terms thrown around, interlaced or progressive scan, interlace is how all NTSC, which is North American Television Standard Color, That's what NTSC stands for. What you do is they'd interlace it. So what it means is you basically fill in. It was like rows on a in a field where you would. That's how Philo Farnsworth came up with the idea. But anyways, you do one line, but then you would skip it and you do another line. So you'd only be updating 240 lines per scan. So the signal is you have your luma chroma coming across, and you have your horizontal sync, which it throws it back, and then it blurs out the signal. Then you have horizontal sync. But the vertical sync would only you'd only refresh the entire screen, even though it was 60 hertz, because we're in America, it's 60 hertz power. So even though it was 60 hertz, it actually only updated the screen. Every other line got updated with every scan. So it was actually every 30th time, every 30th second, you'd have a refresh. So what depended on is the fact of phosphors of the phosphorescence materials. Electron beam scans across the phosphorescent material, light up. It takes a certain amount of time for the decay of that phosphorescence to come down to lose your color. So what happens is if you scan fast enough, it looks like a complete picture, even though you're updating half the screen at the time. That's why it's interlaced between the two. And then after that, you have progressive. Progressive scan basically means it's filling in every line. And that's when DVDs came out. You could actually fill in every line if you're using like the component output. Component output splits the three colors: are red, green, blue. The triad gets split up, and each of those has just the red, just the green, just the blue. But the way the syncs work were different, because instead of interlacing, you were progressive. So you're basically refreshing the entire screen 60 times a second. But that also depends on like, you can do it with CRTs, but it was inherently you'll not see a lot of TVs with component inputs, because what happens is you have that's video, which is pretty darn good, but that's still interlaced. But when you go to progressive, you can do that with analog signals, but you have to use the component signals, not the composite, with the three separate colors. So what happens is you scan down the screen, and you can do it with CRTs, not great though, but with monitors and things like that, like true monitors were much higher refresh, so they were used to being able to refresh the entire screen every time. So computer monitors have always essentially been progressive, because you refreshes every line, it doesn't interlace every line. That's a long-winded thing there. So as you get into the world of 480p and everything above that, it's either going to be progressive or interlaced. You can still do 1080i, which is interlaced, which is only updating every other line, or you can do progressive. But the electronics in modern televisions goes, okay, I've got this type of signal coming in. Even though it's getting an interlaced signal, it'll still turn it into progressive, because that's how it actually updates all the lines and rows and columns on the screen. But that's enough for talking about television for now. I can finish this guy up and start working on making some little boards. And yeah, everyone, thank you for watching. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, or want to have a weird request, you can always email me at retro@cyberfreak.com, and that's with a PH. Or you can leave a comment below. I usually try to respond either via video format, or I'll respond directly, just like this little spinny little knob here. And yeah, I'm going to keep on cutting more stuff. And everyone have a great holiday. And if you're in the Midwest, stay safe out there. There's like 6-7 inches of snow out there already. So yippee. Have a good one.